Edward Burch is live at the crash scene. He joins us with the very latest there. Edward?
Well, Brenda, investigators spent the day scouring the area for what they call perishable information. One way people were encouraged to tell stories of the city of Anniston was through video monologues. It's as simple as using a smartphone or device to record them. People stealing from donation bins at local charities. What's being done to stop the theft? There's plenty of food, some fine art, and lots of high-octane fuel to get everyone's engines running this weekend. I'm standing on County Road 35 in Shelby County. As you can see, there are several of these green waste management containers, and let me tell you, they are filled to the brim. Some of them are overflowing, and it stinks. Right now, this section of the airport is still closed off, and the sign actually fell just a little bit beyond that pane glass. Along with the Highway 31 widening project near the Galleria, AlDOT is also planning a complete repave of Highway 31 from I-459 to the Shelby County line. If you live in a two-story house or an apartment, it's recommended that you get a fire escape ladder. They're about 14 feet long, can support 1,100 pounds, and you can find them at just about any hardware store for about 30 bucks. The gym area of the YMCA has reopened at about 1 o'clock this afternoon, but you got to take a look at this. These outdoor pools and even the indoor pool that's right behind me still filled with water from the Cahaba River that overflowed into it early this morning. If you were a visitor to the UAB Women and Infants Care Center on the 5th through 7th floor and you are experiencing any type of symptoms such as coughing, shortness of breath, or fever, you were encouraged to seek medical attention. You're looking inside of the terminal here at Birmingham Shuttlesworth International, where you can see that sign that had fallen over that weighed at least 300 to 400 pounds. It is still closed off to the public right now, but as you can see, the rest of the airport is up and running. Westerland says before students sign up for computer coding, they should consider what they're going to study in college. She warns that the class offers many challenges that other math classes don't. History is on display at Alabama's highest point. An exhibit closed for nearly 20 years finally reopens. It is just gorgeous out here. We are talking Chamber of Commerce weather. Now there's 5 different food festivals, a major outdoor art expo downtown, and of course, plenty of on-track Indy cars here at Barber Motorsports. Several of the neighbors I spoke with in this area say that they can't help but think that only a matter of seconds made the difference in where this plane crashed.
That's mostly all we see. We see people passed out at the wheel with needles in their arms and people dead with needles in their arms. Heroin has taken over everything.
Hueytown narcotics detective Michael Shoup sees it in his city. His police department fights sellers and addicts every day.
We try to find the heroin users and then work our way up from the user to the seller to his seller to their seller.
On this day, Shoup and his narcotics team are following an informant as she makes a heroin buy.
5-7, y'all just go ahead, and 7-8, y'all stay with her. 5-2 to 7-8, y'all go down a few blocks and come in that way, and 5-7 will be in place, and y'all just stay on that end, and I'll stay on this end. 5-2 to 5-7, do you have eyes on her?
Drug dealers recognize the department's undercover vehicles, so they have to keep their distance.
7-8, y'all don't get too close. We don't want them to see you. Let 5-7 keep the eyes on her. A block or so away, there's one car that is watching the drug deal go down, and the other one is probably able to see too, but he's going to back off a little bit. We don't want to get both of them so close where we're going to spook this guy.
Within seconds, the deal is done.
5-7, she's driving off away from our position.
Just going to meet with her, talk to her about what happened, make sure it was the same guy that she's been buying from, and get the drugs.
No arrest is made on this day. However, the buy is part of building a case against the dealer. A search warrant will be served in the coming days.
We make a number of arrests. We're very proactive in our approach to trying to deal with the problem.
Hueytown Police Chief Chuck Hagler calls Hueytown the heroin crossroads. His city fits between West Birmingham, where the drugs come in from Atlanta, and goes all the way down I-59-20 to Tuscaloosa.
We've stopped people coming from Tuscaloosa. We've stopped them coming from Sylacauga. We've had people coming from everywhere just coming here, and when we ask them why here, they say this is where they find the heroin. They can't find it where they live.
The informant making the recent buy just lost her husband to a heroin overdose. He's one of 3 heroin-related deaths in Jefferson County since January 1st. The Jefferson County Coroner's Office reports 84 heroin-related deaths have been recorded from January 2012 to today. Chief Hagler sees one change. Users are calling for help sooner.
The people that they're with are quicker to call, I think, now for assistance, now that they understand, that it's not just somebody slipping off into a deep sleep.
Across Jefferson and Shelby counties, federal investigators have made major busts, bringing down some of the top heroin distributors, including the most recent roundup of nearly 40 heroin dealers in September. With the recent death of actor Philip Seymour Hoffman, Hagler has a new concern. He believes heroin use is glorified.
The idea that it was, talented people use heroin. So, there might be a benefit for me in using heroin.
Here's the reality Hagler wants to stress.
Heroin doesn't discriminate based on, anything, including economic status. Rich people have heroin addicts in their families just as much as poor people do.
Thank you, sir. God bless you, brother. You have a blessed day.
John Wallace was standing on the I-459 off-ramp at Highway 280 early Wednesday afternoon. He tells me that he and his wife have been living under the highway bridge for the last 3 weeks. You didn't get dropped off here by chance?
No, sir. I'm trying to get back to Clearwater.
I did see a woman under the bridge, and I saw a few signs from other panhandlers. This morning, Wallace and the woman were gone. Instead, a new man stood in the same spot. I attempted to talk to him to find out how he got there.
Walked down the road, sleeping out in the woods.
How long have you been in Birmingham?
I really don't think that's none of your business.
Take a trip down 280 to the Lakeshore exit. You'll find more panhandlers. I tried talking to them as well, asking them to tell me their story.
I don't want to be on.
How long have you been out here?
Are you filming now?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to be on the news.
When I returned to the Lakeshore exit this morning, the panhandlers weren't there. 3 cardboard signs within 10 feet of each other remained. But a few minutes later, a man emerged from under an on-ramp bridge and walked to a spot where he started begging.
We're a giving, caring community, and I think they're taking advantage of that, Edward.
Tony Cooper, executive director of the Jimmy Hale Mission, an organization aimed at getting homeless men off the street and their lives back on track. Cooper says giving money to panhandlers doesn't help.
If I'm doing something for you that you're able to do for yourself, then I'm contributing to your irresponsibility. Are these people needing assistance? Yes. Is money the answer for that? Probably no.
Cooper tells me if kind souls try to offer real help, like food or work, panhandlers often reject them.
Giving money is, for the vast majority of the time, is just not helping them. And the panhandlers, for most of them, it's a scam, and they're taking advantage of your generosity and your compassion.
Jefferson County Chief Deputy Randy Christian says spotting the scammers isn't difficult.
They're very aggressive. They get into the traffic and stop traffic and impede it. They knock on windows. That's the ones we get the calls on. That's the ones we want to get calls on.
Cooper offers a message with which many others agree.
I wish these people would invest the time that they're putting out here panhandling. I wish they would invest the time in themselves on getting in a program like ours where they can better themselves and, and have more of a future.
When I arrived at this location, I saw 2 men pull up in a white 4-door sedan. They stopped right here. The passenger got out of the car and ran up to the top of this hill as the driver drove off and continued down Colonnade Parkway. Now, I spoke with one area resident who says she's seen this taking place for years now and that she says it's only getting worse. She's also concerned with the amount of rubbish that you see building up all along the side of this hillside, and she wants to know who's going to clean it up.
We have anywhere from 1 or 2 that just get dropped off by car versus usually about a dozen at a time that come in on the MAX buses.
Ann Rose lives near Colonnade Parkway. She sees the panhandlers almost every day.
They literally will take turns about who gets, their chance on top of the bridge. So we have a group of regulars.
While I was talking with Rose, the panhandler who I saw get out of the white car left his post. Within a few minutes, 2 others walked up from this MAX bus stop. They climbed the hill and took over the post. Apparently, they saw me and left before I could confront them.
In the few moments that you're stuck trying to get on 280, people probably really aren't noticing the turnover. It's those of us who live here and have seen the regulars over and over and over again and watch literally as the posts change that we've realized that there's a pattern.
I went over to the part of the bridge where many of the panhandlers gather. Look at where the piles of rubbish begin.
It's just nasty. We would just really like it if somebody could come out here and clean up the mess.
Rose says garbage bags have been dropped off to encourage the panhandlers to pick up their own mess. That includes beer cans and liquor bottles found close to several different signs, many of which end with the phrase, God bless.
As much as we want to help people, that sometimes this isn't the best way to help people.
So who's responsible to clean up the mess? Don Lupo, director of the Mayor's Office of Citizens Assistance, confirms the area is within city limits. But the section under the Highway 280 overpass is a right-of-way for ALDOT.
Everybody wants to determine whose right-of-way it is. Well, really and truly what matters is the litter's out there that needs to be picked up.
Lupo tells me his office was unaware of the litter issue on Colonnade Parkway.
Everything's fine, and then boom, it's all different.
31-year-old Noah Galloway doesn't remember the IED blast that took his left arm and left leg 7 years ago. All he remembers are the emotions he felt when he woke up 5 days later.
The initial, being told when I woke up was one shock, but then it didn't really settle in for another week or so. That I started to realize, whoa, this is real. This isn't a dream.
Galloway spent years learning to readjust to life without his arm and leg.
It was a huge challenge. I'd go through extremes, up and downs, where it was 1 minute I was like, this is fine, I'm gonna recover for this, not a big deal. Then I'd come crashing down. It took a couple of years to honestly get through it completely.
Part of Galloway's recovery took place at the Lakeshore Foundation, an organization that works closely with disabled veterans and Paralympic athletes. Kimmy Champion works at Lakeshore. She says the foundation can serve as a safe haven.
The thing that I see a lot with new amputees is probably that they're afraid they can't do anything. And that's not true. Anything that you want to do, you can still do it. It might be different or more difficult, or you might have to relearn a skill, but anything that you want to do, you can still do.
I was a very physical person, and I remember feeling like, well, 2 of my limbs are gone, what's left? At that point, I was unaware of what I could accomplish even after an injury.
Even now, Galloway runs in marathons and competes in other physical contests.
I feel like I've overcome the injury, and now I'm pushing myself.
Galloway offers this advice to those who now must begin a new path.
You got to trust in yourself and be mentally strong and just ride it through. It's a struggle. It's not an easy thing to go through, especially if you've lost a limb. It's not something you just bounce back from overnight. It's a struggle, but you come out stronger on the other end.
Edward Burch, Focus at 4. And we take you inside the home of a pilot killed in a deadly plane crash Wednesday. His story just ahead. I'm Edward Burch. Thank you for joining us this evening. New at 6, an Alabaster man was killed this afternoon in a crash in Clanton. The death of the 2-year-old brings up the topic of leaving children in cars. As summer approaches and temperatures soar, officials are reminding parents of the dangers. A family in Inslee now has a new place to call home. The affordable housing duplex was dedicated this morning. Live in Birmingham, Edward Burch, ABC 3340.